Big moments that hit different. Hey everyone, it's Charles. How are you today? The Pokemon anime is packed with iconic moments that will live on forever in pop culture and the memories of fans. Bye Bye Butterfree, the Ice Cave Cuddles, Thunder Armor, Infernape vs Electivire, Brock's Jelly-Filled Donuts, whatever in the Hungry Hoppips that is, Professor Ivy, the list goes on and on. But today I wanted to zero in on 10 particularly powerful episodes that left us stunned, captured the anime's magic, or simply created a powerful shared experience. They are not necessarily the most iconic moments, but they do hit different. So let's jump right in. Firstly, we have the heartwarming tale of the anime's most fiery friendship. Ash Ketchum, the determined goofball with a dream, and Charizard, the fire-breathing powerhouse with a serious attitude problem. It was a duo destined for chaos, but good golly, Miss Molly, did they ever take us on an unforgettable journey. Because as soon as Charmander evolved into Charmeleon, he stopped obeying Ash altogether and embarrassed Ash beyond belief in the top 16 of the Indigo League, where his refusal to battle got Ash disqualified from the tournament of his dreams, against Ripoff Richie. Charizard had become too hot to handle, and the lack of respect haunted Ash. However, everything changed in the Orange Islands when Charizard was beaten, humiliated, and left to die by Todd's Poliwrath. As even though Ash and Charizard's relationship had been on the coals for over 60 episodes, Ash did not hesitate to race to Charizard's rescue and stayed up all night long rubbing his own flesh raw to keep Charizard warm. Then, at dawn, we saw Charizard back on his feet, looking back knowingly at the friend who never gave up on him, and it was clear that Ash had won a powerful ally, with a few kinks to work out. Ash's unfaltering loyalty in spite of Charizard's disobedience touched the fiery depths of that heart. Their bond was reforged, and the two went on to obliterate Tad's Poliwrath, storm the Orange League, team up against Entei, crush Nolan's Articuno, and, oh yeah, make one of the biggest breakthroughs in Ash's career. The bold and determined Ash Ketchum versus the cocky and charismatic Gary Oak. It was a rivalry in which Ash desperately tried to catch the uncatchable while Gary dropped enough flexes to make a softer man piddle his pants. And it all came to a head in their Johto League Silver Conference Top 16 showdown. At this point, Gary had been dusting Ash for nearly 300 episodes, ridiculing him at every turn, and he even destroyed Ash immediately after the man had redeemed himself at the Orange League. Ash was hungry to set things right, and this was the opportunity he had been waiting for. However, outside of Heracross hacking the Matrix and a few other glimmers of sunshine, Ash's chances at victory soon clouded over and he was down 3 Pokemon to 1 by the time Charizard hit the pitch. But the investment in his friendship with Charizard paid off as the two did the impossible by crushing 3 of Gary's heavy hitters, including his ace Blastoise, to snag the W and shock the world. Even the creator of the Pokemon video games himself, Satoshi Tajiri, had assumed that Ash would never ever catch up to Gary Oak, so this showdown was immensely significant. And Ash's victory over Gary was more than just a triumph of skill, it was a testament to his perseverance and growth, his resolve to never give up no matter what the odds, and to the powerful bonds he had forged with his Pokemon. The victory also showed us how fierce rivalries can fuel our determination and push us to new heights, not to mention push us to the next episode on the list. People usually point to Ash's victory over Paul at the Lily of the Valley conference as the iconic moment of the Diamond and Pearl saga, but that would not have been half the battle had Paul not mentally destroyed Ash at Lake Acuity. Ash Ketchum, the wild card with a heart of gold, and Paul, the stoic strategist with a ruthless training methodology. It was a rivalry that had viewers on the edges of their seats all series long, but no battle was quite like that lakeside clash, as not only did Paul's team blow Ash's team out of the water and into it, but they made Team Ketchum look utterly pathetic while they were at it. And while Ursaring's hammer arm knockouts on Staraptor and Pikachu were particularly devastating, nothing stands out quite like Electabuzz ending the battle with a cruncher of a Thunder Punch to Monferno's face, leaving Ash clutching his broken Pokemon in despair as Paul walked off into the sunset. Ash came into the match eager to prove the merit of his Pokemon first training methodology, but the team only got chewed by Paul's calculated strategies and the brutal offensive capabilities of his Pokemon. And the only thing Ash ended up proving was Paul's untouchable superiority. The animosity, the manhandling, the world-shattering blow to Ash's confidence, it wasn't even an official match, but the Lake Acuity fiasco was the toughest L in Ketchum history. Of course, the upshot is that it lit a fire in Ash's heart that helped him power up to turn the tables on Paul in the Sinnoh League, and that was the conclusion to quite the redemption arc. Here it is, the heart-pounding, lip-locking moment that sent shockwaves through the Pokemon fandom. The juicy mouth dunk that opened Ash Ketchum's eyes to the world of the birds and the bees. Maybe. Serena's feelings for Ash had been brewing ever since he rescued her in the forest at a summer camp years before the XY series began. And although they fell out of contact when she saw him on TV years later, she soon set out to reunite with him. At the time, Serena was struggling to find her direction in life, and Ash was the catalyst who got her moving. Because of Ash, she eventually discovered her passion for performing, and just like Ash, she also began chasing down her dreams. Along the way, a mostly one-sided romance blossomed that brought a whole new flavor to the Pokemon anime, and while the lovey-dovey stuff wasn't everyone's cup of tea, it resonated with a huge number of viewers, and the appeal of that story thread would be immortalized with a kiss that blew up the internet. The gist of the scenario was this: Serena was departing to Hoenn to pursue her career, the two said their goodbyes at Lumiose Airport. She told Ash, in the original Japanese script, that he was her target and that by the next time they met, she would have become a much more attractive woman. Nudge nudge, wink wink. And finally, Serena got on the escalator headed for her departure gate. And then, she ran up the escalator and kissed him before the escalator once again pulled her away. Ash was stunned, Pikachu, Dedenne, and Bonnie were reeling, Clement crapped his pants, Amore shippers pumped their fists in joy, Misty broke into tears, and just like that, Serena departed from Ash's life. Serena's kiss wasn't just a random goofy gesture, it was a brave declaration of her feelings. After all, if she hadn't had the courage to take action, she never would have had the opportunity to let Ash know how she felt. And her smoochy statement showed us the happiness, growth, and relief that can be gained from taking a leap of faith. Not to mention that she got Pokemon fans around the world speculating about the future of Ash's love life, or that the kiss acknowledged that the production team was willing to explore more mature themes to satisfy the show's aging audience. And speaking of mature themes, despite what the whiny whoopers who never actually watched the next series will tell you, things were only going to get even more real. When we meet Mallow in the first episode of the Pokemon Sun and Moon anime, we're introduced to a cheerful girl who loves to cook and take care of her friends. She's the big sister of the group, not to mention the pillar of a household wherein her brother is gone to tour the world, and her mother has already left the world. Much later in the series, Ash and friends are wrapping up their research projects on Pony Island when Hapu tells the tale of Tapu Fine's mysterious mist, a mist within which Pokemon and people can meet and speak with departed loved ones. Hapu warns that some people will never make it out of the mist because it's simply too painful to reunite with those we love only to say goodbye to them forever once again. Mallow is visibly shaken by Hapu's story and later explains to Lana that when her sickly mother was readmitted to the hospital yet again one day when Mallow was a kid, Mallow was frustrated, snapped, told her mom that she hated her, and before they could meet again to talk things out, Mallow's mother passed away, leaving Mallow with a lifetime of guilt and regret over the harsh words she left her mother to take to the grave. However, later that day, Tapu Fine's mist sets in and she finally has a chance to make amends. Wandering the mist, Mallow eventually encounters her mother and breaks into tears. Finally, she is able to apologize for what she did. The two express their gratitude and love for one another, and they hug one last time before the mist fades and Mallow's mother disappears forever. This was such a raw, emotional moment that reminded us of the fragility of life, and taught us about the importance of living without regrets, cherishing our loved ones, and finding closure in the face of loss. And I don't know how to follow that one up, but here we go. Team Rocket's Jesse, James, and friends were the lovable, bumbling villains we couldn't help but root for. But more than being just a band of rogues, they were a family that looked out for one another. And I don't think that any scenario embodies that better than Advanced Generation's Tyranitar incident. The gist of the story is that while stalking Ash on his way to Rustboro City, the trio comes across a cage containing some familiar Pokemon, and they are happy to pilfer another criminal's hard work. Except that Arbok and Weezing refuse to strong-arm the vulnerable Pokemon, and the Rocketeers soon discover that the cages belong to Rico the Poacher, who blasts them away with his Fearow and Pupitar. Moved by Arbok and Weezing's resolve, Team Rocket later returned to the scene with the intent of setting the caged Pokemon free instead of stealing them. But to their horror, Rico's Pupitar evolves into Tyranitar and starts throwing down. The situation gets real bad real fast, so Jesse and James tell their precious Arbok and Weezing to flee into the forest with the Ekans and Coughing, and their trusted friends, those little angels, can only look back back tearfully as Jessie, James, and Meowth are beaten senseless, but they honor their orders nevertheless and lead the other Pokemon to safety. The trio get physically obliterated, but drawing on every bit of energy they had left, they even clung desperately to Rico's boots to buy time, until finally he kicked the trio into a crumpled heap and set off to pursue his prey. However, the trio's sacrifice actually delayed Rico enough for Officer Jenny to track him down and make the arrest. The trio had achieved something truly heroic, but the sad part is, they never found out about the arrest. They never discovered if their friends made it out alright, and they never ever did meet their beloved Arbok or Weezing again. Even so, the Tyranitar incident showed us that however mischievous or misguided they may be, Team Rocket's bonds with their Pokemon run deep, that they will rise to the task whenever those bonds are challenged, and that even the most cowardly or incompetent of us are capable of truly heroic feats to protect the people or goofy gas gobblers who we love. Ah, the bittersweet farewell that left fans teary-eyed and nostalgic. Of course, I am talking about the unforgettable moment when Ash and Brock, the Pokemon A-Team for over 13 years, parted ways at the end of the Diamond and Pearl series. After a truly memorable adventure in Sinnoh, Ash and Brock said goodbye to Dawn and took a boat to Kanto, eventually arriving at a familiar crossroads where they wished each other the best on the roads to their dreams, shook hands, smiled, and clasped arms knowingly. Brock and Ash had actually traveled apart for short stretches during the Orange Islands and Advanced Generation sagas, but this time it really was the end of Brock's time as a regular on the show, and it was tough letting go of the best Ash Ketchum companion there ever was. But just like in real life, truly being friends means truly supporting each other's dreams, even if it means having to say goodbye. And Brock had come to the point where he needed to go if he ever wanted to fulfill his dream of becoming a Pokemon doctor, and joining the F-Zero circuit. Ash and Brock's farewell symbolized the growth and evolution of both characters, as well as the inevitable changes that come with each of life's chapters. But of course, the Ash-Brock bro bond is as legendary as the challenges they faced and the jelly donuts they shared. And the two have crossed paths multiple times since their parting to remind us that true friendships can withstand both distance and time. Naturally, this landmark episode had to be on the list, because back when Ash humiliated himself in the Indigo League, it was hard to imagine him ever winning a major competition. Sure, he later won the unconventional Orange League and Battle Frontier, but a League Conference victory evaded him year after year after year, and it didn't look like the Sun and Moon anime was about to remedy this. But then, midway through the series, Professor Kukui founded the Alola League and announced the Mallow Conference. Anyone could enter, but in order to make it to the top 16, they'd have to survive a no-holds-barred battle royale that pitched the entire field against each other all at once. Not every qualifier was a gem, but Ash had to beat tough opponents like Guzma to make it to the final, where he took on Gladion in an absolute sizzler of a showdown. The match went down to the wire, but the Pallet Town player took the win with one of his unpredictable power plays, and just like that, he won his very first league conference. The cherry on the cake was the brilliant final boss exhibition match against Professor Kukui and Tapu Koko that saw Ash acknowledged as the true champion of Alola. But beyond the electrifying battles, Ash's victory was a testament to his unwavering determination and resilience that showed us how passion, hard work, and the odd dash of luck can bend dreams into reality no matter how far-fetched they may seem. Of course, Ash's big win in Alola didn't just mark the end of a Pokemon League, but the beginning of the end of our time with Ash himself. And his next major victory would break the internet for a different reason altogether. The fact that this next episode and its shocking finale even exist illustrates what a marvel the Pokemon anime is as a show that has delighted fans for over 26 years with no end in sight. That said, Ash vs. Leon would transform the series in ways that nobody imagined. Pokemon Journey's World Coronation series pitted thousands of trainers from across the globe against one another in a ranked competition in which only the top 8 would make it to the season-end Masters tournament to determine the world's #1 trainer. This time, Ash will be taking on the absolute cream of the crop in a tournament of epic proportions packed with genius strategies, character-defining power plays, and enough drama to one-hit KO a Mega Charizard X. Anyways, miraculously Ash defeated Hoenn champion Steven Stone in his opening round, then beat Sinnoh champion and longtime mentor figure Cynthia in the semi-finals. And finally it came down to Ash vs. Leon. A howler of a 4-part finale in which Ash and Pikachu were pushed beyond their limits. In the end, the boys got the job done. They proved the haters wrong, and their triumph left fans reeling. Much like the win in Alola, the WCS victory showed how years of hard work, perseverance, and unyielding passion can make just about any dream come true. But the conclusion was also bittersweet, because we knew that with Ash now the #1 trainer in the world, the writers would struggle to move his story forward in a meaningful way. Sure enough, a successor series starring brand new characters was soon announced, marking the end of the Ash Ketchum anime saga. The news left the fandom both excited for a new adventure and also kind of devastated. And speaking personally, it left me pretty shaken, not stirred. After all, it was absolutely surreal to see Ash become the world champion, on one hand because it was the ultimate 25-year payoff, but on the other hand because I could feel that one of the last heroes connecting me to my childhood was about to say goodbye. And nowadays, many fans are still pining for those eternal summer days we spent with Ash and Pikachu. That seemingly never-ending journey that brought smiles to faces, inspired us to chase our dreams, and taught everyone to never give up till it's over, which was the message at the core of Ash Ketchum's story from the very end to the very beginning. Which brings us back to the day everything started. As you probably know, Ash and Pikachu's friendship didn't exactly get off on the right foot. In fact, Pikachu was openly hostile to Ash. But shortly after they set out on their journey, a flock of angry Spearow launched an attack that would transform their relationship forever. Faster than you could say frying pan as a drying pan, Pikachu was beaten into a bowl of shreddies, and all Ash could do was pick up his unruly companion and make a run for it. He ran, he jumped, he stole a little girl's bicycle, he did everything he could to get his injured Pokemon to safety, until they were cornered with no way out and it was time to throw in the towel. Except that instead of giving up, Ash defiantly faced the flock and told the world who he was. I'm Ash, from the town of Pallet. I'm destined to be the world's #1 Pokemon master. I can't be defeated by the likes of you. I'm going to capture and defeat you all. And he stood there, in an impossible situation, undaunted as the flock barreled in for the kill. But Pikachu was so moved by Ash's selfless heroism that he mustered every scrap of strength he had to get back to his feet, then leapt in front of Ash to unleash a thunderous attack that demolished the entire flock. When the explosion cleared, Ash and Pikachu found themselves laying on the ground in the sunshine. They looked at one another, and Ash just smiled knowingly, perhaps understanding just how incredible of an adventure was about to unfold. In an instant, the premise of the Pokemon anime was clear, that this was a journey about unwavering loyalty, reckless courage, and the unbreakable bonds that make us unbeatable. A journey that would show us the true essence of friendship and inspire people around the world for decades. And a journey that would capture the hearts of fans for generations. Even now, the era of Ash Ketchum may be over, but a new era has only just begun, and it could turn out to be the greatest Pokemon adventure yet.